All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you guys doing? And welcome everyone to Paper Cat Books Facebook page. You guys are in for a treat because today we have another special virtual book launch just for you. Hello everyone. I'm Cor Carlos and I'm happy to be your host for today's event. Once again, this is another Saturday of October, and you know what that means. It's time for our author Paper Cat Books first ever author takeover. That's right, author takeover natin ngayon. Of course, the 4 Saturdays of October, we do have four great books to devour and four great authors to get to know of. So once again, mark your calendars, please, for the 4 Octobers, 4 Octobers, 4 Fridays, ayan, four Saturdays of October, because we'll be talking to our new authors from Paper Get Books. O, diba? Now, our second author for today will mentor us as we reflect on our business writing skills and how this is a critical skill to have in keeping your job and having a great career. O, di ba? Since season 2 na tayo, year 2 na tayo of the pandemic, I know that most of us have missed working from the office kasi lahat tayo ay work from kitchen, ayan, work from bed, work from garage. So, there's a lot of things that we miss about working together, but as it is still the pandemic, we make the best of what we have. But I know we do understand there's still a lot of things that we miss, and today we want to talk about some of those things that we miss about the office and some of the learnings that we've had in the past 2 years. These days, there has been a lot of resources available now to improve our business writing. And even if we're at home, di ba, madami na tayong pwedeng pagkuhanan ng new information or new skills to have. And the book that we're launching today is the best example of how good business writing skills can help supercharge your career. So, are you guys ready? So let's get to know our second guest author for our author takeover. Let me introduce her to you. Our guest author for today helps professionals promote their personal brand or business by teaching writing and content marketing principles. So, after 10 years as a marketing and communications practitioner, she founded Writing Hacks Academy in 2016, offering online courses, webinars, and ebooks. One of her highlights as a business writing trainer is conducting a workshop with team members from the Presidential Communications Group. Her seminar and articles have been featured in media institutions such as Southeast Asia, Business Mirror, Marketing in Asia, When in Manila, Eagle News, and DWBL 1242. She believes that having a fulfilling life and business takes vision, balance, and commitment to learning. During a casual day off, she enjoys shopping for home decors, watching Netflix, and hosting meetups with friends. Please join me in welcoming Jonah Chipeco, who is launching her very first paperback book today, Business Writing Bloopers, Common Mistakes to Avoid. Hello, Jonah, and welcome to your virtual book launch.
Yay! Hi, Cora. Thank you. And hello to all our viewers.
Yes, Jonah. So, ayan, kamusta ka naman today? How are you feeling?
I'm great. I'm feeling excited and grateful.
Mm-hmm. That's great to hear. So, my first question for you is, how have you been? And how did you keep productive during this pandemic?
Siguro one of the things that I did to stay productive is to focus on completing my book. So with
Mm.
me, ayan, makita mo na yung paperback version of the book that we're working on. But on the side, I want to make sure that I would uh, work at a pace also that would promote yung wellness ko din, no? So, Like you mentioned, I shop for decors. Nakaabang ako sa mga sale. And in between work, I would watch Netflix series.
I
Speaking
love
of, I think
that.
if I can mention, no, kasi our theme is about learning from mistakes, and one of the series I completed recently is yung Squid Game. I don't know if you have watched the Netflix series Score, but at first I didn't want to watch kasi I felt like there were gory scenes sa trailer. But I somehow got hooked into the games. And meron dalawang games doon na nag-stand out for me. Yung isa, yung red light, green light. If you have watched a series, just comment and say hi and that you have seen Squid Games. And pangalawa, yung may glass floor game. I think what caught my attention was the players in the game would be prone to making mistakes because they're trying new things and they're trying to learn from their competitors or from the other participants, ano yung mistakes nila para wag nilang gawin for their advantage. And I think that made me somehow inspired to connect yung launch today, no, with the theme na learning from mistakes, because at work, being in the office, or even in doing business, you want to go see and scout and look for things around you that will help give you parang tips or light bulb moments na, aha, I should do that, and these are the things that I should avoid to move forward.
Emote ko yan, Jonah, kasi kakatapos ko lang ng Squid Game and sobrang emote ko yung two games that you mentioned. If we could just spend a little time. Kasi you're right, no? Looking back, tama ka, the first game, yung red light, green light, because of the mistakes of the people before them, natuto nila kung paano to, do it better the second when it came to their turn. So that one resonated with you, no?
Oo,
Gusto ko
oo,
yan.
oo.
And to our viewers in Paper Cat Books, comment down below. Ayan. Comment down below kung nanood kayo ng Squid Game and parang na-realize nyo, light bulb moment, oo nga, no? Like learning from other people's mistakes para you get, when your time comes, you do it a little bit better. Ayan. Gusto ko yan. Kasi as we connect that concept, no, with business writing and our virtual book launch, as you mentioned, we're using the theme learning from mistakes because I believe your book focuses on common mistakes to avoid. But my question to you is, what was your thought process here, in creating this content of the book using that specific angle?
Una, I think would be in the workplace or when you're around professionals, there's a need for social acceptance. Subconsciously, whether we like it or not, we want to please our boss. We want to make a good impression among our clients, even with our colleagues. Parang we want to look smart somehow or make them feel that, okay, I'm in the workplace, I'm a professional, I know what I'm doing. And one way we would do that or tick off that goal is to find out and see what are the things you should be careful of not doing. There is one study by Andy Willis in the UK, parang neuroscience study siya, testing how participants of that study would improve on predicting future patterns. So imagine there are two groups of people in that study faced with a series of questions and patterns on the computer. And in one group, ang assigned strategy or technique taught to them is look out for the mistakes. Check kung alin yung mga ma-eliminate sa patterns that we're showing. It could be pictures or text so that you would have a better chance of predicting what the future pattern will be. And naging mas successful yung group na yon. And I think for us as well, especially our culture in the Philippines, minsan mas nag-stand out. I'm sorry, but I think that's how we work sometimes, iba. Mas nag-stand out pag may nakita tayong mali. Our parents would tell us, "Hey, don't do that, avoid doing that mistake," kasi nandun din yung parang fear of repeating that mistake in the future. Kapag meron kasing mistake, you would feel pain somehow, and yung impact nun sa experience mo mas nag-stand out. So even in writing, even in business writing, when we have experiences when our boss would tell you, hey, what you sent was wrong. Hey, the way you should have written that email or letter should be this way. Parang, I don't approve of how you worded things. Mas naalala natin yon, mas na-ingrain siya sa minds natin. So, I made the book in such a way that I want to highlight those mistake patterns, because if someone would pinpoint that to you, if someone would tell you personally that, hey Jonah, hey Core, I see your writing style, I've checked your work, and there are only a few mistakes na parang lagi mong nauulit when you write. If you find out those patterns, what those patterns are, you'll get a better chance of improving your writing skills.
Totoo nga 'no, Jonah, kapag yun nga, eh, kapag, 'pag may mistake parang dun mas tumatatak. May
Mhm.
konting takot, fear of course kasi siyempre, you know, mako-call out or you know, mapupuna kumbaga. But as you mentioned, yun nga, mas nagiging, mas nagsi-stick yung learning, through mistakes. So, very interesting. And na-mention mo nga din yung mga studies that you have also come across. And now naman gusto ko itanong sa'yo, you know, in your experience as a comms professional, how did you hone your skills, you know, in writing and communicating? Marami ka rin bang mga naging mistakes before? How did you shape your career, ika nga?
I have a question sa'yo before I move on answering that. Sorry to surprise you. Meron
Okay.
kasi ako na-encounter recently na quote from David
Mhm.
Ogilvy. Um, and he says that he believes that writing is not a natural talent, it is something
Mm.
learned. Do you agree, or do you disagree?
Is a
No need to
natural
explain.
talent.
So, do you think writing is a natural talent, or do you think it's a learned skill?
I think it can be learned. I think
Oo.
lang.
For me, when I saw that quote, I know it's from a famous copywriter, and yung brand niya sa copywriting and advertising is known. But it made me think kasi growing up, even when I was in grade school, I had that interest in writing. And I think one instrumental um one instrumental way for me to know that this is the field I should pursue are my grade school teachers. Kasi even
Mm.
as early as grade 1 or 2, when we have writing activities where the students will be asked to write essays, short stories, or poetries, they would give me good feedback and say, "Hey, Jonah, you're doing a great job." Diba? We would receive stars,
Mm-hmm.
and yung work natin we would be placed sa bulletin board if we did something na they got yung attention. So even as early as grade 2, parang they encouraged me to sign up sa journalism club. So
Wow. Grade 2 pa lang.
that's how
Ang
I
galing.
that's how I realized that okay, maybe genetically also, and something that we may have inherited from our parents, yung skill natin of being conversant, or pagiging magaling sa language, 'di ba? And of course, it also comes with practice over time, kasi if tinuloy-tuloy mo 'yon, like I joined yung journalism club, competitions, even until high school, I kept writing, and eventually yung communication, yung course that I took in college, because I loved writing and speaking. But now that I'm a business writing trainer, I also start to ask, like, what if the students I have won't have that natural talent or interest in writing? Is this something that they can learn? And for me, the answer is yes. The difference is, compared with an expert or a professional writer, you only need to learn the basics. One misconception that we have, that's why we're feeling overwhelmed with the topic business writing, is we feel that we need to be an expert or learn a lot of things. Yes, you need to be an expert if you will teach business writing, or if you're a professional writer, it's part of your job. But if you send communication as part of your work, you only have to learn the basic principles and follow that. And I think yung book ko na Business Writing Bloopers would give you an idea of those everyday situation and real life stories of how professionals apply yung business writing skills and how it was relevant to them. So yun, that's how it was formed. We started with an interest and then practice and then still being open to learn about ano yung principles that I need to master.
So you heard it, guys. Wag mawawalan ng pag-asa. We can learn this even though hindi kayo originally, predisposed dun sa writing or business writing. It can be learned. So with tamang sabi ni Jonah, with tamang foundations and tamang practice, kakayanin. So thank you doon, Jonah, kasi ako din emote ko 'yon. Ayan. Sabi ko kasi before, takot ako na to call myself a writer kasi marami akong kilalang writers and sila talagang it's a skill, passion, ang gagaling nila. So parang hindi, dito na lang ako. I cannot call myself a writer kasi yun nga, parang with respect to them. But tulad nga sa nasabi mo, don't worry, Cor. Maaral natin yan. We can get there basta with practice lang and proper guidance. Thank you for that, Jonah. And how about this? You mentioned a good communication skills is very important nga in one's career. But but with but with the world now that we're working remotely and working from home, kitchen, garahe, at malayo si boss, how important is it to have good communication skills?
Even before the pandemic, yung communication skills would be one of the third most sought after skills by hiring managers according to Job Street yan. So, ibig sabihin, if you want to land a competent job or yung dream job mo, diba, it would start by sending an application letter, your resume, and of course, it's an advantage for the hiring company to see if you can write well. And especially you mentioned that we work remotely, yung face-to-face interaction is limited. So most likely when you're talking to your boss, your coworkers, or even clients, you do it by exchanging emails or text messages. So somehow, if you're a new professional, you're new as an employee, or if you're a tenured professional na like a manager, sometimes it would help if you have yung refresher course or would try to relearn again what you know about business writing. Kasi the traditional methods or templates you may have in the office may be outdated already and you may need to revise it. So it's one good timing because we have this need for virtual communication for you to review. Tama ba yung ginagamit nating templates or resources? Do we know the right way if you want to deliver bad news to a client, if we want to end a partnership, if we want to send a proposal to a prospective client, ano ba yung ginagawa nating framework? Meron ba tayong ginagamit na method? Alam ba natin yung how we would structure the paragraphs? Alam ba natin kung tama yung style of writing, the way that we're delivering it? So, mahalaga. I think core business writing is essential ngayong panahon na remote work.
Gusto ko yon. Business writing is essential. And tulad nga na sinabi ni Jonah, what better time to refresh and update your knowledge and skills but now? Kasi baka yung mga natutunan natin before, hindi na siya applicable, no? To the world that we live in right now. So, reminders sa ating mga viewers out there, no? So aside from learning new skills, business writing then yung skills nyo sa business writing also need some updating. Wink, wink. Ito naman, Jonah, one more question for you and ano ko din to, tanong ko rin sa'yo, no? How about confidence? I mean, hindi naman din lahat ng tao are confident to say, ay, kaya ko yung business writing. Actually, medyo nakakatakot nga kasi pag narinig mo yung business writing, parang, ay, pang ano yan, pang English teacher or may mga lit majors. Paano naman ako na hindi yun ang inaral sa college or hindi yun yung parang strength, like how important is confidence when it comes to business writing?
I remember core because when I deliver business writing workshops, face to face and virtually now, I would ask my students to evaluate how confident are they when it comes to their business writing skills. And one conclusion that I have, or one observation, is that my students would always rate themselves lower than their actual capacity. What do I mean by that? Our perception of how we're good at is something that we evaluated or assessed for ourselves. But if another person who is an expert at that skill, who knows the right guidelines, would look at your actual written work, they would say na, magaling naman siya. Parang, for me, 4/5 naman yung work niya. But why did he rate himself as 2? Or bakit sa tingin niya 1 lang yung score niya sa business writing? That is because they didn't have the right feedback. They didn't have a person to show it to show their work to tell them na, hey, um, you're good at this, you have a potential, and siguro ang nakita lang nila yung mali na okay, puro may grammar or punctuation error, but they didn't see na okay yung flow, na construct niya yung paragraphs, na maganda yung sequence, and it takes somehow a coach or a trainer to pinpoint that. For me, the issue of confidence can be solved by usually four things. Meron akong acronym that I share to my students, and for those listening, it would be helpful for you, no, regardless of what field, whether business writing or not. If you want to level up your confidence, remember these four things. One is connection. If you're connected with someone whom you think is skilled or is an expert at the line of work or industry that you want to aim for, syempre connected ka sa kanya, meron kang call a friend function. You can ask someone, hey, am I doing a good job at this? That can be your advantage. That can boost your skills. Second would be apps and tools. Technology. Think of how technology can help you become a better writer, because nowadays meron ng proofreading websites where you can go. If you want to know tama ba yung capitalization, if you want to go to references to check ano ba yung mga grammar error mo, meron ng mga ganong tools online. Third is knowledge. Of course, the more that you know yung process behind what you're doing, the more that you'll become confident kasi alam mo na you know what you're doing. And last would be experience. The more that you practice, when you have a long time experience applying the skill, applying that knowledge, mas magiging confident ka. So remember cake. CAKE, connection, apps and tools, knowledge, and experience. So that's what you need to be confident, whether in writing or in other areas of your life or business.
So remember that cake. Sa susunod na kumain kayo ng cake or my birthday, ayan. Not just the cake, but the CAKE.
Para maging piece of cake yung paggawa ng something, di ba? As
Tama,
easy as a piece of cake. Yan.
piece of cake. Parang nag-crave ako ng chocolate cake right now. Thank you so much, Jonah. So you guys, hindi lang tayo nag-virtual book launch today, no? Parang talk and special session na rin, ayan, about business writing. And speaking of talks, today's event is very special because apart from our author, Jonah, we do have resource speakers who will share with us how good communication skills help them improve their careers. So when we come back, we'll have Jonah later on in the show. But for now, let me introduce our next guest speaker, guest resource author. Resource speakers. Sorry guys, napapalit-palit. See, ang dami kong bloopers today. Ayan. So, CC Core. Ayan, ang dami kong bloopers, mga mali-maling words. This session is for me. Ayan. So first, let me introduce our first resource speaker. Sales professional Isagani or Gani Banzuelo helps mobilize resources for nonprofit organizations as a sales and marketing professional. He is currently a sales and distribution officer at the Philippine Bible Society. Gani attributes learning, seeking help, and practice as a part of his career growth even without the bachelor's degree. Would you believe that he started as a construction worker, messenger, and janitor before securing a job in sales? Ipapakwento natin kay Gani to later. Gani is happily married and runs a business as a reseller of Mamang Taho by Soya Bar during this free time. So welcome to the virtual book launch, Gani.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, Gani, and welcome to our virtual book launch of Jonah's Business Writing Bloopers.
Hello sa mga
So,
audience.
ayan, oo. Ayan, mag-shoutout ka sa mga nanonood. Ayan, I hope your family is
Sa
watching as
Romance
well.
Countrymen, shout out.
Thank you so much. So, kanina, Gani, dun sa intro, no, yung story of your career growth is so inspiring and gusto namin tong marinig from you. Knowing that you didn't graduate from college and even worked in different paths before becoming a sales professionals, did you have a challenge when it comes to communicating? And how did you go about it? How did it boost your confidence? Anong ginawa mo?
Actually, associate naman yung aking degree from college. Associate. Uh, Supposed to be dapat Bachelor Science ng Marine. So medyo malayo, no, from seafarer to
Wow.
sales and marketing, no. Ang gusto ko lang i-share sana, no, katulad nung kaninang napag-uusapan ninyo, na nung time na meron kasi rin akong naging experience na gano'n nga, parang na-correct ako doon sa aking, siyempre, yung aking communication skills, especially sa writing. So may problema talaga ako dyan. Kasi growing up doon sa challenge area din ako galing. So yung lingwahe ko talagang so gano'n din siya, no. So tapos yung background ko nga medyo ano pa nga ako mahina pa ako sa paggamit ng computer. Yung ASDF, yung the quick brown box, baka puro fax nga lang nagagawa ko that time. Pero ang gusto ko lang i-share dun sa mga audience natin, dalawa lang kasi yung pwede na ang response natin, di ba? Pagka tayo ay nako-correct or nasabihan ng ano ng, ng corrections, no? Yung isa yung positive one, pag-iigihan mo. O yung isa naman, magde-decline ka na, madi-disappoint ka na, and hindi mo na lang itutuloy yung isang bagay, diba? Hindi mo na siya i-explore, hindi mo na siya itatry, no? So, sa akin lang, ang naniniwala kasi, may sinasabi sila yung there is no constant in this world. Sabi ko, merong isa. Yun yung learning. That's the only constant in this world. Yung learning. Kailangan nating pag-aralan, kailangan nating alamin. So ako, ganun siguro ako napunta. Doon ako napunta doon sa positive side. So maraming kailangan ayusin sa akin. Pero I take it positively, no? Kaya nung natuto na akong gumamit ng computer and hinandle din ako ni Jonah nung time na magkasama kami sa isang organization. That's the time na little by little na natututo na ako ng communications, no? Sa in writing. But actually, yung communication ko naman, yung face to face, medyo naman ako doon, somehow meron akong nag-start ako, meron akong maliit na na siguro na kumbaga may konti ng skills, no, na hanggang sa na-develop ito, no, yung aking communication skill. At ito rin yung nagdala sa akin, no, dahil naging positibo yung response ko. Yun din yung nagdala sa akin doon sa kung saan man ako ngayon nakalagay, no, where I am now. So, yun, inaral ko siya, nagpaturo, no, nag-invest. Siyempre, you need to invest. Kailangan mo bumasa ng libro, umatin ng mga seminars, di ba? So, kailangan may gagawin talaga tayo if you want to learn, if you want to achieve yung kung meron tayong gustong i-achieve sa buhay natin, kailangan nating magkaroon ng part sa atin. Kailangan natin pagsikapan yun, kailangan nating aralin yung mga bagay. So, I think yun yung somehow na naging sa akin. Kaya na-develop yung aking communication. Pero yung writing ko, I'm still learning, no? Yung kanina, parang may pinag-usapan kayo, parang may mga meron kasi talagang parang innate na sa atin, no? Yung galing natin, innate na, parang born to be a writer. Galing din kasi ako sa isang global consultancy. Yun, malaking bagay rin yung naituro sa akin ng global consultancy. Nung nandun ako sa consultancy as a training assistant doon sa mga training. So marami akong natutunan ng mga patungkol sa pagsusulat. And karamihan kasama ko doon, mga consultant, puro writers, no? Talagang pag sumulat sila, napapublish siya sa Inquirer o kung saan, nakakagawa sila ng mga libro. So, yun, somehow, meron talaga mga ganong tao. Ang tawag namin doon sa training, core of core nila yun, eh. No? Ganyan tayo. No? Each and everyone has a core of core. Meron talagang innate sa atin, sobrang galing natin doon. Unconscious na tayo doon, unconscious competent ang tawag namin doon. Hindi mo na alam, sobrang galing mo doon. Pero doesn't mean, hindi mo pwedeng matutunan yung other part. Like ako, hindi porkit ang core of core ko is communication, face-to-face, hindi ko na pwedeng aralin yung o hindi ko na siya pwedeng isama doon sa basket of skills ko yung writing. Slowly siguro, kasi hindi gano'n yung interest ko sa writing. Pero slowly. Ang natutunan ko nga sa business writing, the shorter, the better.
Correct ka dyan.
The shorter, the better.
So, napaka-inspiring. Napaka-inspiring naman ang story mo, Gani. And I hope a lot of our viewers can relate na yun nga. Tulad ni Gani, career shifter, nagsimula sa maritime industry. And marami pang naging jobs in between. And then now, ang naging key skill niya is just constantly learning, parang just always think positively kung ano man yung mga naging mistakes. Kasi pwede namang kapag nag-mistake, sabi mo nga, na lang, para ayoko na, tiklop na ako. But hindi. But if you think of it positively, you can learn, attend seminars, look for mentors like Jonah, and then, just constantly move forward. So I have one last question for you before I call on our next resource speaker today. So speaking of communications, meron ka bang mga tips na pwedeng i-share yung mga naging adjustments na ginawa mo as you communicate with clients now na we are working remotely and medyo wala masyadong mga face-to-face?
Usually, ang best na pwede kong ma-share sa audience is yung master your craft. So, kung communication yan, so you need to know yung taong kakausapin mo, anong level ng pagkatao niya. So, somehow may magre-research ka rin para and then siguro yung sinasabi nyo kanina, do not be afraid to make mistakes. Okay yan, yung magkakamali ka kasi pag hindi ka na nagkamali, baka magkakamali ka kasi hindi ka na nagkamali.
Perfect na sila eh. Ayan.
So, perfect na sila. So, I think yun lang siguro, master yung craft na gusto nating tahakin, wag din tayong masyadong maging tawag dito yung maging mayabang sa sarili natin. No? Ask for help kung kinakailangan. No? Yep. Pa-mentor tayo, di ba? Mag-build tayo ng mga tao na kung saan makakatulong doon sa kailangan natin, sa gusto nating ma-achieve. Like for example, kung business yan. So, trumaw pa tayo ng mga matitinong negosyante so that we can pag pumasok tayo sa business, magiging matino rin yung negosyo papasukin natin. So, yan, it applies to all. Yep. Yung ganong system sa buhay.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you so much, Gani. Kasi yun nga, bukod kung ang mga athletes may coach, ang mga business writers may coach din yan. So, ika nga na sinabi ni Gani, reach out to mentors, business writing coaches, and get the feedback that you need. So, thank you so much, Gani, and marami kaming nakarelate kami sa mga stories mo. So later on, we'll be having you back in the show in a special portion. But for now, let me introduce our next resource speaker. So our next resource speaker is a business process consultant. Michelle Abdon helps solopreneurs and organizations streamline their businesses through business process review and operations consulting. She heads MA Consulting and Business Solutions since 2016, offering consulting, training, and outsourcing services. She's also a certified life coach that's focused on transformational coaching. Michelle believes that it takes self mastery, integrity, and centeredness in Christ to have a fulfilling life and fruitful career or business. She enjoys reading, series, marathons, and meaningful conversations during her free time. So let me call on Michelle Abdon. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Cor. Yeah, thank you for that wonderful introduction. And first of all, I would also like to thank Jonah for inviting me and Gani for her soft launch of her book. And I'm actually excited, to read her book because I am a reader and I am also an aspiring writer myself. So yes. Oo, kaya when Jonah asked me to come as a guest speaker, without hesitation, I agreed kasi of course, I learned a lot from Jonah and I actually admire her for finishing her book during the pandemic, no?
Oo nga.
Kasi which is actually a very good outlet din naman. So, thank you Jonah for having me here. Yeah.
Yes, welcome to the VBL or Virtual Book Launch of Jonah. And actually, you mentioned about your experience with Jonah. So, may tanong ako sa'yo. Jonah kasi mentioned to me na ichika niya sa akin that the two of you met in her business writing seminar before the
Yes.
pandemic. So, how was the experience for you?
Yeah, actually, it was very timely. During that time, I think that was around July or August 2019. It's good that Jonah is running those workshops kasi naghahanap talaga ako on how I can improve on writing. Kasi that time, syempre, if you're transitioning from employment to solopreneur or self-employment, medyo marami kang pagsusulat na gagawin like
Yeah.
business plan, business proposal, engagement letters. So all those may konti naman akong background on writing, pero of course I also want to learn the formal parang skills on business writing itself. So I know Jonah was actually recommended to me by a former colleague and also a mentor. So immediately I enrolled to her workshop. Actually ano pa nga lang ako noon last minute enrollee pa ako noon Siningit lang ako I think ni Jonah, pinagbigyan lang ako ni Jonah noon. But I really wanted to attend that workshop. And yung I was surprised kasi I thought na parang ano lang siya, yung parang basic business writing.
Mhm.
But what's good about the workshop that Jonah did that time is she captured everyone who's on the
Mhm.
audience, whether it's for beginner, at least for me, that was a refresher, no? But
Mhm.
for those who are more advanced, she also prepared something so that everybody us will learn from that workshop. So, I think one of the highlight na naaalala ko kasi that was still 2019,
Yeah.
na-emphasize yung importance of good writing by email. Sa
Oh.
email talaga. Kasi especially now that we're in pandemic, no? But even before, parang hindi siya masyadong pinapansin. Parang we are corporate or managers are focused on learning our speaking, right? But in writing, no, especially sa email pa lang, we can already sense, I mean, the tonality of your
Oo.
writing can already be sensed, even kahit email lang yan, or text message, or sa messenger and all that. So, but on the other hand, on the formal setup naman, it's really a must to learn about business writing kasi nga, we're selling our products, our services. So when we do our business proposal, engagement letters, it will be also parang judge, no? I mean, how you really prepare those documents for your prospective buyer, for your prospective clients as well.
Gusto ko yan, Michelle. Parang na-curious ako dyan sa email writing, dun sa seminar with the email writing. Kasi, yun nga parang na-overlook ng mga tao kung tama ba yung parang how they respond to email. Tama ba yung mga attach here with, henceforth, ayan, uso pa ba yung mga hitherto, ayan, yung mga, di ba, nakikita natin yun sa email. So,
Right.
and I also learned from you na, constant learning, lalo na sa mga solopreneurs, ang daming isusulat. So, you also reached out to mentors and coaches to constantly train you and prepare you for what's ahead. So, gusto
Yes.
ko yan.
Actually, it was dalawa, business writing and copywriting.
Mm.
Kasi sabi nila parang business writing already involves copywriting. Pero actually, when I attended both workshop, magkaiba talaga siya, no?
Mm.
May the intention of those writing are different and depende din sa targeted market or targeted
Mhm.
customers mo.
Gusto ko
Yeah.
yan. So my last question to you before we go on to our special segment with the rest of the guests is, as a business process consultant, can you share some mga common mistakes na napapansin mo that businesses and business owners have been making while we're working remotely? Kasi today is all about learning from mistakes. So, ikaw ba meron kang mga nanonotice na mistakes that people should learn from?
Uh, One common, not naman, I wouldn't say naman mistake, pero yung common, yung hindi conscious, again, sa email pa rin, just as simple yung mga to, CC, BCC, no? Sometimes people reply without consciously knowing that
Mm.
anyone that's included in the email thread will read it. So yun sigurong consciousness lang whenever we send our email, parang we have to review it if we're sending it to the proper person or uh, yun nga, parang yung consciousness na baka mabasa ng lahat yung sinesend mo. And
Amen.
also, yeah, it's very important siguro is I also got some consultations even with my friends and colleagues kasi napapansin nila why am I parang somewhat good in business writing in when they read my email parang kumpleto daw, concise. So parang they ask me, is this something that talagang innate with you or pinag-aralan mo? Sabi
Mm,
ko,
mm.
similar with Jonah, actually, even as a child, I have already an interest in writing. But malaking tulong talaga if we're constantly learning, like me, I attended Jonahs because I know iba pa rin talaga ang business writing kesa dun sa normal that we do in
Mm.
employment, in our work, no? So sabi ko sa kanila, actually, nag-enroll pa rin talaga ako sa business writing. So they were surprised na kahit parang for them, magaling ka na, bakit nag-enroll ka pa rin?
Mm, mm,
So
mm.
sabi ko, it's really a must kapag gusto mo talagang mag-serve to the best of your capability to your clients. Kasi parang, di ba, kung ikaw din naman ang makakabasa ng proposals or ng engagement letter, parang you would want naman na the person took effort
Mhm.
na maging kompleto at mababasa mo na yung proposal ng maayos.
Alright, thank you for that, Michelle. And tulad din ni Gani, constant learning. Yung in your case naman, even though, yun nga, medyo maayos na yung yung familiarity mo, gusto mo pa rin to learn. Parang, you want to push the skills even further. So, learning talaga is very important in honing your skills. So, that's what I learned from
True.
you and sa kay Gani, di ba? Wink, wink. Ayan.
Yes.
So thank
Yeah,
you so much, Michelle. And then again, please join us in our special segment as I introduce the rest of our guests here. And of course, bringing back our guest author for today, Jonah Chipeco, as we now have a special segment that I would like to call Dahil magbe-games kami, you guys. All four of us have a special segment that we call Never Have I Ever. Oo. So, lahat kami ngayon ay mag-game. So, in the first ever Never Have I Ever with a twist. Okay? So, first ever online game, ayan, ng Paper Cat Books. And I want all of the viewers out there to play with us. Okay? So, let me read to you our mechanics kasi may konting twist ito so that it's easier for us to identify. Kasi yung original na Never Have I Ever, you put your hands up and then parang put your fingers down, parang ganon. But this time it's with a twist, you know. So here's how we're gonna play it. So first, I will be reading statements about various business writing and corporate experience. And then, if you have never done the statement, put your hand down. Kumbaga, not me, excuse me, hindi ako yan, perfect ako, hindi ko ginagawa yan in life, not me, put your hand down. But if this statement is something that you have done before or recently, ayan, put your hand up or guilty ka, guilty as charged. Paano mo nalaman? Sino nag-splook sa'yo? Aminin mo na sis, put your hand up. Ayan. And then I will be asking you how it happened. Ikwento mo na yan, girl. And, you know, let's learn from each other's mistakes.
Core, I think yung mga viewers din, if they want to answer, parang comment lang nila hands up or guilty.
Oo. So, yung mga viewers, use your hand emoji. Ayan, may mga hand emoji. Pakiitaas ang kamay. Or kung hindi naman kayo, not me, may ano bang emoji? May emoji ba? Walang kamay. or basta kung guilty kayo, hand up. Let me see your hands, you know, emoji hands out there. Give it to me now. Ayan. So, I have 5 questions. So if you're ready, let's start the first question. Also, handa na ba ang comment section? Ayan. Our first question is, never have I ever need to wait for my manager to approve my emails before sending because of typos and errors. Ayan. So, hand up. If guilty ka na pinapa-approve pa kay madam, kay sir, ang email, or hand down, if, excuse me, perfect ako. Kakabasa ko lang ng dictionary kanina. So, let us see the hands. Gani. Aminado ang Gani. Ayan. Sige, Gani. Ano bang, ikwento mo nga sa amin ang naging experience mo?
Oh, alam ko si Jonah nga yata nag-aano sa akin eh. Oo.
Sa akin yata
Isa
siya
sa mga-
nagpapacheck.
Si Jonah before eh. No? Or ngayon sa bahay, work from home eh. Ang office mate ko, yung wife ko, tsaka yung eldest ko na working na din. Sila yung before I send the emails. Eh sabi ko nga sa inyo
So-
kanina, still in the ano pa rin ako eh.
Right.
Pero hindi ako sumusuko.
Don't worry. Dahil tulad mo, no, umamin si Mark Manalang at si Mami Sol. Ayan.
Sol.
Tropa.
Hindi ka nag-iisa. Warm up pa lang yan, ha? Ayun, hands up or hands down if so you can play with us, all right? So ganun lang mga friends. So ready na ka ba kayo? Ang next question natin is this. Question number 2. Never have I ever sent an email to the wrong person because I was multitasking. Ayan, nagpiprito, nagwawalis, nagne-Netflix, kaya na-send ang maling email sa maling recipient. Hands up or hands down? Let us see. Jonah and Gani ang nag-hands up. Pero wait. Walang hands si Michelle. So itanong natin si Michelle. So, hindi ka nagkakamali sa pag-send ng email?
Sa email, I can't remember kasi I always check it before I send. Pero nagkakamali ako sa Messenger. Sa,
Mm.
which is mas ano nga mas malala kasi dapat sa email ka
And ano,
nagkakamali, hindi sa Messenger. Kaya lang sometimes kapag nagre-reply ka and then may nag-a-appear na message, nasa-send mo siya. So doon ako nagkakamali. Pero sa email, parang wala pa akong naaalala.
Ay, bongga ni Michelle. Hindi siya nagmo-multitasking, nasisend niya sa tamang tao. I love it. And just like that, ayan, even si Maria Chona, hands down siya. Hindi rin siya nagkakasend sa maling tao. So, kung paano nyo nagagawa yan, guys, ikwento nyo sa amin. Ayan, kung paano nyo, nakikeep yung inyong mga emails to the right person.
si
Dahil
Kat tsaka si Paula,
ay,
they gave a hands up.
may hands up. So, Paula, isplok mo na yan, okay? Kanino mo na isend at anong ginagawa mo? Bakit mo na-send sa maling tao? at syempre, si Madam, ayan, I once sent the wrong movie pitch. Friend,
Director.
medyo matindi to. um, Major yata ito, no? So mamaya tatanong natin how to recover from this kasi parang medyo intense yata yung wrong, to the wrong
Siguro
direct. Sorry,
core.
direct.
Core,
Yes,
can I also
Jonah.
explain ba't ako nag-raise ng hand? I think one
Oo,
common
sige.
mistake pagdating sa names is pag meron kang coworker na magkapangalan sila, then magkaiba yung apelyido, 'di ba? Minsan nag-auto appear yung names nila dun sa email software. So yun yung nangyari sa akin. But
Mm.
since after that mistake, hindi pa ako trainer nun, syempre. What I do is I write the email address last. So tinatapos ko muna yung entire email to make sure na pag na-send ko siya, yung last na nilalagay ko is filling in yung box ng to field to make sure na tama yung recipient ko. And complete yung message ko. Kasi minsan din nasa-send siya na hindi ka pa tapos magsulat sa
Mhm.
email. So that would help.
That's good. Tama, tama. Gusto ko yung tip na yan. And yun nga, parang write the to last para i-review mo muna. And sumagot ang Paula, ayan, I will forever be grateful for the recall function. So, bukod sa recall function, Paula, so tulad ng tip ni Jonah, i-send mo na lang yung sender last, para mabawasan ang pag-send ng wrong email. All right. Our next question is, never have I ever copy-pasted an email and sent to multiple recipients only to end up forgetting to edit their names. Ayan, tulad ng number 2 question natin, na nag-copy-paste ka kasi, kunyari, nag-i-invite ka, ayan, may something, no? Di ba? Tapos ilalagay mo, Dear Charo, ayan. Pero, hindi mo napalitan.
Kay Ate Mel mo napadala.
Kaya
Charo.
sa GMA mo napadala. Ayan. So, let us see the hands or no hand. Oh, for the first time, ang Michelle ay nag-raise ng hand. Sige, Michelle, kanino mo napadala ang ang letter or email na ito?
Yeah, I'm guilty of the copy-paste. Pero napalitan ko yung header or hi, ganyan. Pero yung body, may pangalan pa rin. So, dun lang. So, halata talaga siya na copy-paste. So, but then again, I think, pinagbigyan na lang ako nung nasendan ko. So, buti mabait naman yung napagsendan ko. So, pero halata talaga siya kasi sometimes, even if I'm addressing her name or his name sa simula, I also mention their name sa body. Kaya doon ako nagkamali.
Ikaw, Jonah, may thoughts ka ba doon? Like, yun nga, sending the wrong the emails, hindi na-edit, ayan, mga tips or parang thoughts?
In general kasi, one reason we make mistakes is when we're rushing or if time is an issue. Para it makes us less careful or thoughtful about what we're doing. So if you're mindful na kapag nagmamadali ka, you're most likely to forget something or make mistake, then that's a way to refocus yourself also to the task before you. So I know it's not para a practical business writing related tip, but it's more of yung condition mo of being focused at a task, and that affects your writing din kasi.
That's right. Oo. Even though hindi nga siya parang by the book, but sometimes personality and behavior is also part of what we also need to understand. So thank you for that, Jonah. Because our next question is on the flip side, kayo ba ay naka-receive na ng email that was not meant for you? Ayan. Ikaw naman yung recipient of someone who sent the wrong thing, and then unfortunately, may mga confidential information in that. So, paki-splook, kwento, chika, ano yung isinend sa inyo? Ayan. Okay, I see. Jonah, Michelle, si Gani, wala. So, ngayon naman si Jonah naman ang gusto ko itanong. So, Jonah, as the recipient of the wrong email, anong nangyari? Anong nabasa mo?
I forgot yung detail, but I think it was one email wherein I'm copied about a salary of an incoming staff. And then, nakita ko rin na nakakopy yung person having the same position na ina-apply na incoming personnel. So, I think super, para highly confidential talaga siya. There are some items that you need to discuss in person, like between managers also, or pwedeng given na in written form. So kapag yung ganong type of message is being transmitted via email, kailangan mo talaga mas maging careful and think sino ba yung kailangan nakaka-copy or sino yung recipient dito.
Ang sakit. Nakasisi pa yung yung may isang ka-level din niya. Parang, aray. So, ako naman,
Hindi ko lang
meron
ma-compare kung sino yung mas mataas yung sweldo eh. Kasi kung yung current or yung incoming, di ba?
ako, pwede ba akong tsumika sa inyo? Mag-raise din sana ako ng hand. So, may natanggap din ako na email. Ito naman, kasi nag-resign pala siya, tapos parang employee verification. Hindi niya sinasabi nag-resign na siya, pero may nag-email sa akin employee verification dun sa manager niya. So, nalaman ko nag-resign siya. Anyway.
Nauna ka pa.
Nauna pa ako kaysa sa manager. Siguro magka-apelido kami or, so parang ko, so anong gagawin? Tulad ni Kat, sabi niya, ignored. So marami din tayong mga viewers na nakatanggap ng wrong email, and most of them, yun nga, delete, ignore. I think that's the best way to go. Ayan. Speaking of resignation, ang last question natin for our Never Have I Ever game is, never have I ever copy-pasted a resignation letter template from Google? Aminin nyo na, mga viewers and mga ating mga guests. Kasi syempre, pag resignation letter, parang paano ba to? Paano ba magsisimula? Ikikwento ko ba ang hinanakit? Ang pighati? Ayan. Paano ba simulan? So, nag-copy-paste ka ba sa Google or you started from scratch? So, let us see. Ay! No hand. Yeah, Jonah has a hand. Jude also
I think
raised a hand.
yeah, si Kath also, and si John Luke never. I think
Never. Never. From scratch ang John Luke, ha? In fairness.
may disclaimer siguro na copy-pasted but modified. And it was, syempre, yung first job ko, medyo early 20s pa ako nito. And hindi pa ako ganun ka-familiar with the principle. So definitely, you want to check sa internet, like, paano mo ba ito isusulat? And what's good siguro at that time is meron na akong awareness not to copy and paste it entirely. Kasi, syempre, you have to assess whatever you see online eh. Kung meron ka ba kailangang modification na gawin, or kung tama ba yung format or yung structure na sinundan mo, because not everything online is something na talagang magandang sundan. What if the example you got ay nagsabi ka pala ng yung reason mo for resignation ay because you had a miscommunication with your supervisor and you're disappointed or angry with the person, di ba? Paano kung may personal reasons pala doon, I shouldn't have disclosed. So kailangan din na isipin mo rin, ano yung explanation? Bakit that was the way the template was structured? Ano yung reason behind that? So, kung meron kang knowledge na background, parang check mo rin tama ba yung sinundan mo or hindi.
Tama. In fact, tama. Totoo naman. Si Emerald sabi niya, for template lang naman. Parang may reference lang naman but not exactly word for word. And umalma si John Luke. Tumingin lang naman siya sa samples just to check kung tama. Ayan. But still their words kasi syempre I guess it's a personal din yung letters. So yan ang ating first ever, ayan, Never Have I Ever online game here at our virtual book launch. I hope nag-enjoy kayo as our viewers and also to our resource speakers, so to Michelle and Gani, no? So before I let you go to Michelle and to Gani, baka meron kayong mga last words or parang final tips on how our viewers can learn from their mistakes? Or any sharings that you'd like to partake to our audience today. Let's start with Michelle naman.
Yeah. Uh, One thing I would also like to share. I remember sa workshop din ni John ako nalaman yung tools on checking how yung tonality, yung grammar, yung app na Grammarly. So, dun ko sa workshop niya nalaman yon. So, after that, I also use the tool na. So, it's also, siguro one tip is to make use of the available apps or tools, no? So that we can, kasi kahit gaano tayo kagaling, there's still instances na nagkakamali din talaga tayo. Kasi syempre pag masyadong casual yung tone or kasi ako I believe no, especially sa mga emails kasi I do a lot of email writing and mga sinesend ko. Yung tonality talaga is very important. And some of my colleagues, yun din ang pinapa-check sa akin. Kasi na kumbaga parang if we're conscious of that, ma-avoid natin yung miscommunication just because yung tonality ng pagkakasulat natin sa email. Kasi we're not sure how it will perceive yung ating sinulat. Unlike kung face-to-face, yung facial expression natin, madali nating na-adjust yung tone natin, yung right? Pero sa writing, napakahirap. So, yung tonality ng pagsusulat mo is very important for me. And before, hindi ganon ka-conscious or ka-aware yung mga colleagues ko. So, when I review their writing before nila isasend, they will ask me, Shell, can you check kung okay ba yung tone? So, yun na yung pinapa-check sa akin. And okay ba to bago ko siya i-publish or even sa mga Facebook posts. So, I also recommended them yung Grammarly. Kasi may ganun tools nga. And so yun, that's one, make use of the available apps or tools to help check our writing. And then second, reading is a very good way to have a good grasp of grammar, of practically anything, no? Kasi siguro kaya medyo mas natuto akong magsulat, it's because I love to read. So, for those who are learning, no, to have a good writing skills, syempre, of course, the very simple and shortcut way is to enroll to workshop about the writing that you want to learn of. Example na lang, yung kay Jonah, kung nasa business ka, it's really a must. Kung nasa ano ka naman, nasa creative ka, siguro, or nasa sales, copywriting. And then, kasi copywriting is, parang, it will already do the selling for you without even selling. right? So that's how I see it. And then siguro another kanina na banggit ni Gani, never be afraid to ask help, or parang wag mahiya, or even wag mahiyang mag-ask ng help, and also um, have someone to also check your work, kasi two heads are always better than one. So I guess that's it.
Thank you so much, Michelle. How about you, Gani? Any last words before we let you go?
Mm. Siguro dahil business writing 'to 'no, siguro karamihan nanonood dito somehow, may ano na 'no, may kakayahan na sumulat o pero kung scratch pa katulad ko, okay lang 'yun, dagdag natin sa basket of skills natin yung writing. Very important kasi yung ano, yung lalo na ngayon nasa ano na tayo, nasa panahon na tayo ng ano, ng technology 'no. Talagang ito na yung life natin. So, okay lang hindi tayo yung maging pinakamagaling na sa email, sa pag-construct ng mga messages, no. Importante ano, tuloy lang. Aral lang ng aral. Ah, keep on learning, keep on trying, no. Gagaling din tayo dun sa bagay na ito, no, relatedly sa pagsusulat. And pwede ko magpasok dito ng ano, ng spiritual ano. Pwede ba, Koy? Koy ba? Ah,
Um,
Bible verse ba yan?
hindi naman. Parang siguro, kung gusto natin kasi talaga, no, we need to ask wisdom and knowledge kasi sa ating Diyos. So, wala naman sigurong masama, no, kung tayo ay mag-aas sa ating may kapal patungkol sa mga pangailangan natin sa competence natin, sa pag-work natin para mas maging effective tayo. So, I think yun din naman yung maganda, no? Bakit natin dinidesire yung isang competency o yung isang skills, no? Para yun sa pagtulong mo, para sa sarili mo, at magiging mabuti ka. So, I think bibigay ni God yun. Yung magandang skills, no? Magandang core competence sa atin.
That's right. Thank you so much, Gani and Michelle, for being our resource speaker and joining our game. Ayan, maraming nag-enjoy sa ating mini game and marami kaming natutunan sa inyo today. Tulad ng nasabi nyo kanina, we've got the right book to help us learn practical tips to improve our business writing correspondences, such as letters, memos, and emails in a fun and easy way through this new book by our dear friend Jonah Chipeco called Business Writing Bloopers. So thank you, Gani and Michelle. And
Thank you,
let's watch this.
Michelle. Thank you, Gani.
Let's
Thank
watch
So,
this
you.
short. Yeah.
bili kayo
Let's
ng
watch this
books.
short video. Oo, bili kayo ng
Oo,
books
bili
and
kayo
learn
ng books,
about
no?
it.
Oo.
So tulad ng sinabi natin kanina, let's watch the short video to learn more about business writing bloopers. Let's watch this.
Do you take over an hour to write a single email? Or has your boss ever told you that your writing skills suck? Ouch. It's not yet late to communicate better for your job or business. Understand and avoid common mistakes. Learn practical tips to help you write better and minimize errors. Would you like to know how you can achieve that? Get your copy of Business Writing Bloopers, Common Mistakes to Avoid. This book covers the business writing process and common pitfalls in style. Stories of Filipino professionals like you, who thought they were writing the right way, but ended up embarrassed. Answers to frequently asked questions, such as defeating writer's block, improving job application emails, crafting a decent sales letter, the best way to send an apology, and more. Get your copy of Business Writing Bloopers now. Ebook and printed versions are available.
All right, so we are back with our guest author Jonah Chipeco for a deeper dive on her book Business Writing Bloopers. And you can see a copy of her book right now. So, Jonah, kakagaling lang natin sa very fun bookingan session. Ayan. Marami tayong natutunan na experiences in business writing and corporate experiences, not only of our guests, of you also, and also of our viewers. So that was fun. But I just wanted to ask you, with your experience as well as a trainer and as a coach, what do you usually tell your students on how they can learn from mistakes and boo-boos? Kasi yun nga, parang, doing the wrong thing. Parang sometimes gusto mo na lang tumiklop at magtago. But what do you usually tell your students?
I think a timeless message na relevant for professionals, even pandemic man or not, is not to take our jobs or businesses too seriously. I think as a professional, especially when I was starting, I admit that sometimes I'm too hard on myself whenever I'm being corrected or whenever people would pinpoint my mistakes. But if you were able to step back and see things as a learning experience, then you'll most likely adopt a winning mindset. So if you see corrections, if you see weaknesses as a way to know the areas where you need to improve at, to know areas that you need to learn or keep growing on, mas maganda yung magiging attitude mo as a professional and even in life. So, it's good that you have mistakes. It means that you're human. And even expert writers or trainers like us would also commit mistakes. That's why I participated yung game kanina to also show that in the past I also committed yung mga bubus na ito, and it's part of life. So I hope that we take these mistakes as lessons, learn from them, and eventually grow.
That's right. Oo nga. Thank you for sharing that, Jonah. Kasi oo nga naman, our coaches also experience a lot of learning moments. So, kumbaga, tao din sila. And because of those experience, doon nila natutunan yung mga best way to go about things. Jonah, ito naman, when it comes to English, for example, kasi let's say, hindi let's say, actually currently, before Philippines used to be really good in the language, English language. Ngayon, medyo padami na ng padami ang hindi na masyadong marunong magsalita in English, and most especially writing. Parang sanay na sila sa text language, yung mga tumatalon-talon. Ayan. So, what is your business tip for those who are not good in English?
Siguro, so core to give also yung context or background, in my virtual trainings or even face-to-face workshops, I have HR managers, admin managers attend, and they would even ask me, like, can we write in Tagalog or Taglish? What if we're sending a letter to a rank and file staff, let's say security guards sila or drivers? And sometimes we forget the rule of knowing our audience first, who we're writing to. If we feel na mas maintindihan tayo sa wikang Filipino, then you can use that language. If you have a local dialect and you want to communicate in a way that you'll be best understood, sa tingin ko kailangan din nating um, maging sanay or makasanayan din natin na i-adjust yung lengguwahe natin according to our audience. So, I haven't mentioned but I've taught college students for 2 semesters also, and part of what I taught aside from English is yung Filipino. Kaya, para sa akin, yung learning English, of course, we want to be globally competent, and when we talk about the subject ng business writing, English talaga yung language of or instructional language na ginagamit. And what I would tell kung hindi ka ganun ka-fluent or kagaling sa wikang English, like yung tip kanina ni Michelle of reading or even watching English movies, nakakatulong yun eh. And second would be knowing na hindi mo kailangan maging eksperto. You don't have to be an expert in the language. If you know yung rules, if you know yung guidelines, we have a specific business writing style guide kasi. Kaya tayo merong inaaral, kaya tayo merong mga ganitong libro and references to make those style guide or to make those guidelines familiar to you. So kapag natutunan mo sila, and you'll be surprised because these are basic rules na over time, kahit nagbabago yung panahon, pareho. Pareho from what we've learned from long ago. Pero minsan, kapag delivered kasi siya in a complex way, doon tayo mas nagiging fearful of learning it. So I hope that since this book is written by a Filipino author, by someone who did not academically study yung business writing, but also learn through experiences of students attending my workshops and tips that I have gained kasi naging working professional din ako. We have those who have been in the academic field pero hindi naman sila nakapag-practice ng corporate. So this is how I collected yung mga tips and guide that I shared dito sa business writing bloopers na book core.
Yes, and speaking of book, I just want to ask you more about that. So please do tell us, what is Business Writing Bloopers about and what inspired you to put this book together?
Um, I didn't mention at the beginning, but we introduced Gani, di ba, as one of our guest speakers. And when I was delivering workshops or started as a business writing trainer, parang isa siya sa naging inspirasyon ko because I know there are professionals who would want to come to their supervisors and ask them, tama po ba yung sinulat ko? Tama ba yung ginagawa ko dito sa email ko or letter ko? But not everyone would have the time to do that. Not everyone would have yung skill also and knowledge to tell you na this is the way you should do it. So for me, yun yung inspiration ko, knowing na individuals or professionals would appreciate a person telling them, hey, this is the correct way of doing things. Ito yung mga mali na ginawa nung iba. So I turned that into a book. And unlike yung ibang book siguro na instant yung pagkagawa, for me, yung turning this into a paperback version took about 5 years. So I
Wow.
started as a business writing trainer in 2016, after yung 10-year ko as a marketing and communications professional. So throughout those years of dealing with students and learning, binubuo ko yung libro. Before, it was an ebook version that I launched, and eventually I met Cat of Paper Cat Books, yung publisher ng book natin, and that helped me arrange and organize things to put it together in a way that will come up with a guide na friendly for the readers, na usually kasi pag nag-iisip tayo na okay, business writing yung tinuturo, ala Miss Minchin yung of Princess Sarah or A Little Princess yung magde-deliver, di ba? And it has to be like in a formal way na strict English teaching. But it's this is different. Aside from yung tips that I have, I also gathered stories from subscribers of my online school Writing Hacks Academy. I encourage them to submit entries and stories and be a contributor so that they can also share ano ba yung mga mistakes nila in the workplace as a professional when it comes to business writing.
I love that. So, my last question to you is, so how do you want readers to be transformed or changed by this book?
Kanina we have talked about confidence, and that's all I want you feel and experience throughout reading this guide. I hope that by finishing yung 144 pages of this book, going through the tips, going through the tools, and going through the experiences of other contributors, you would gain yung you would drop or put down this book feeling na nag-level up somehow yung confidence mo, that when you will write your next letter, your next memo, or your next email, you have something to follow. You have yung guidelines to review on how you'll execute it. So even if you don't have a supervisor beside you, lalo ngayon you're working remotely, to tell you if you did right or wrong, this can serve as your handbook. One feature of this book as well, aside from yung common mistakes in business writing, we have yung top 10 common grammar mistakes also included in the book. So if you visit yung website link that Core will share, you would see yung what's inside the book, ano yung outline niya, what you can learn from it. So if I can only show just a few pages, meron tayong mga comic, illustrations, icons that you can use, because I know that pictures and visuals would also help you charts, frameworks, templates that you can use. So it is not very lengthy, but it's concise, compact, yung mga kailangan nyo for basic business writing. Nandito rin. So I hope that you will get a copy because while playing this video, meron din tayong limited time offer of a discount since we're launching the book. If you go to that website, you may see an ongoing promo or coupon code that you can use para makakuha kayo ng discount for either the ebook or the paperback version of Business Writing Bloopers.
All right. Thank you so much, Jonah. And once again, to be able to grab your own copy of the book, all you have to do is visit the link down below, bit.ly/BWB book, and then that will give you all the available parang ways to get a paperback or a PDF version, and all you need to know about Jonah. Oh, diba? So Jonah, before I let you go, ayan, parang parang kanta lang, ayan. Before I let you go, is there any like special message, final advice, or shout outs that you would like to share to our audience today?
Siguro since this is a book launch and if we have a physical event, I would be thanking people who have helped me with this book. First of all, I thank God for giving me yung skills, yung interests, and yung freedom to pursue what I'm passionate about. I know that doing something you love is a gift. So I also encourage viewers to find that thing that they love and pursue it, if not as a full-time job, as a hobby, because it will help keep you healthy, happy, and how else can we live life these days, diba? But try to take care of our own a happiness. So I also thank my family, especially my mom, because when I was new as a business writing trainer, if you would only see that she is my usual comrade, event assistant. Like we would commute together when I was starting, ride buses kahit umuulan, carrying luggages to our training venues. Thank you so much for the training companies that I have worked with when I was starting. And do you know that when I started my first business writing workshop, I only had one student sign up nung isang araw ko. So it wasn't an encouragement, but eventually it grew and I have 50 to 100 people attending in events that I have. Thank you for my brother, my sister. My brother designed the book cover, and of course, my sister is also very supported with the online businesses that I have and the things that I do. Thank you also for Writing Hacks Academy, the students who visited today. Thank you for saying hi, for watching this video. Thank you to the subscribers na who trusted me, even if I'm still starting. Right now, it's my fifth year as a trainer and resource speaker. I'm happy that I've met you, and like yung story ni Michelle kanina, I hope that I have been an influence in your life in a good way. Thank you for Kath of Paper Cat Books for helping me bring this together. I enjoyed working with you, and I know that we had shared values. And I think when looking for a mentor or someone that would help you in your publishing journey, maganda rin that you would meet someone with the same values and principles that you had because it will make work lighter for you. So thank you for everyone who watched. Thank you. Thank you, Core. My heart is just filled with gratitude that I have my first paperback baby, yung tawag ko. Because it's like giving birth to a creative idea. And if ever you're watching right now, desiring to write your book or make something happen, I would pray that you would have yung will, and also see that you have the resources within you and around you to make that dream happen. So that's my message, Core. Salamat din for hosting today's event. I hope this is not the last baby. I'm sure we're still talking about future paperback babies that I have. Marami pa tayong sinusulat on the side that we want to introduce kasi inspiring magsulat ngayong pandemic season din eh.
Gusto ko yan, more babies to come, Jonah. Ayan, more paperback babies, please. And more virtual book launches or physical book launches, wink, wink, and more games with Sigani and Michelle. So, What an inspiring day, you guys. Thank you so much, Jonah. Kumbaga yung mga pinag-usapan natin today and your story, your personal stories, talagang parang nakakabilib, nakakatuwa. So parang excited na ako mag-learn more. Ayan, through the book and also through your seminar. So now we have a go-to business writing coach and go-to book when we want to learn more about how we can level up our skills when it comes to business writing. O, di ba? So once again, thank you to our resource speaker, Gani and Michelle, for joining us earlier. And of course, thank you so much, Jonah, and congratulations on launching your book. Thank you for joining us today. And to all our viewers, if you're watching this on replay, thank you so much. And please feel free to share the link to your family and friends. We want to see you again and to more virtual book launches only here at Papercut Books. So once again, thank you everyone and see you again next time. Bye-bye!